Almost a week ago, Star Wars Andor came out on Disney Plus, and I just got done watching it because, to be honest, I totally forgot that this thing was coming out. I remember the show being announced back in 2018 and not being very excited for it. It was one of those shows that when announced, I was like, okay, but why? Why make this show? I liked the character of Cassian in Rogue One, but I didn't think we needed any more of him. In fact, if they made a K2SO series, I probably would have been way more excited than the Andor series that was announced. And to be honest, leading up to the show, I wasn't expecting much, and I haven't really from anything coming out on Disney Plus as of recently. It's just all been mediocre, lifeless. Almost like they need to constantly pump out content so that you'll keep your Disney Plus subscription, which I'm sure totally isn't the truth. But after watching these 3 episodes, though, I am happily surprised to say that I really enjoyed this show. It's quite refreshing. It's not this big, grand Star Wars adventure that we're often used to. And there's nothing wrong with those types of stories. I actually really enjoyed those. I think The Mandalorian is the best thing that Disney has ever put out with Star Wars. So that in and of itself is not a problem, but it's always just nice to kind of get into the smaller world of Star Wars. The Star Wars galaxy is massive, and I feel like so often we just spend so much time on Tatooine. It's nice to get new planets that we haven't seen before and new characters. It's small, and yes, it's constantly scaling upward, the tension's rising, it's constantly building, but I never feel like I'm getting involved in this huge magical world-changing thing going on. Now, of course, they're talking about the beginning of the rebellion. That's kind of what this show is about, how the rebellion almost started. But it doesn't feel massive, at least not in the first 3 episodes. And I really enjoyed that. Now, even though the show was surprisingly good, it's not perfect. I thought the flashback sequences sometimes were unnecessary. The first 2 episodes are really slow. They're not necessarily boring. I think they provide enough mystery, enough to keep you watching. I think Disney and the showrunners were very smart with releasing this as a 3-part premiere, because episode 3 is absolutely fantastic. It's probably one of the reasons I rate this show so highly, because episode 3 was awesome. But the first 2 episodes are slow. I think the opening sequence in the first episode is great, and I think the world building they do is what keeps you watching. But I just love how the show, even though it is sometimes very slow, it keeps you wanting to watch. It keeps you wanting to see what's going to happen. Like, I actually care about certain storylines and certain mysteries they've put into the show. Like, I'm interested to see what's going on with young Cassian in the flashbacks. Like, I'm interested to see what Luthien is doing, what he's up to. I have a lot of questions that I actually want to see answered. I also really enjoyed that the tone of this show is a lot like Rogue One. If you didn't know, Andor is a prequel to Rogue One. So it's a couple years before the events of Rogue One. And then I believe season 2, by the end of that, it will lead straight into Rogue One. Almost like how Rogue One led straight into A New Hope. And yes, a season 2 is confirmed, and from what we've gotten, I'm not upset by that news. Andor is going to be 12 episodes, unlike a lot of the live-action Disney Plus Star Wars series, which are 8 to 9. Actually, no, 6 to 8, because Obi-Wan was 6, and then Mando and Boba were 8. It's also kind of cool to get a longer story. It gives them a lot more time to flesh out characters and build the world. Andor's really a welcome surprise and a welcome addition to the Star Wars universe. I am super excited to see where it goes. I think the action is great. I think the story is interesting, and I actually care about characters, and they feel like almost real people. I love seeing the kind of day-to-day lives of people within the Star Wars universe, and I love how they're fleshing out new characters and adding new planets, and not just relying on the old characters that we all know from the original trilogy or the prequels or anything like that. I truly believe that Disney Star Wars is the best when they're making new things. But that's about it for me. Let me know down in the comment section below what your thoughts on Andor were. Did you watch it? What you think? Let me know. But until next time, peace out, bro skillets.